Facebook, guess what time it is? It's time for the Ruby Girl Talk Show. Yay! So excited tonight. I have Josette with me tonight, and let me tell you, we're about to get your money right, y'all. Y'all hear me? Listen, we know that it's common, believe it or not, for a lot of people to have financial issues. We know the economy is rocky. We know that while the economy is going up, our pay is not going up at the same scale as our
Yes,
economy. Let's be real, y'all. We
right.
love to spend. We love to shop. And so online has made it so convenient. So it's so easy to spend your money just at a click. You don't have to get dressed, get in your car, drive there, spend your money, walk around. You can just sit right there on your couch and spend, spend, spend. Well, guess what? Miss Josette is here to help us fix our money. And so before we get started, Miss Josette, I want you to go ahead on my Facebook page. I want you to find this video. And then I wanted to share it with you share it with your people. So while you do that, what I'm gonna do, I give them $1 million commercial. So this is Dr. K, known as your favorite Ruby girl. And so you can always connect with me at rubygirl.net. So Ruby Girl comes from Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a virtuous woman for her value is far more than the price of a ruby. Been saying this for years, y'all. Years, years, years. And so that means that you're rare, virtuous, and valuable. And so tonight, we just gonna have that real conversation. I mean, don't be ashamed. Because trust me, I've had financial issues myself, and I really want to get my finances together this year. And so this is why it's so important that you share this video. Met Miss Josette this Saturday at a conference, and she spoke so well to us about finances and convicted us that I was so glad when she was like, I'll be on your show. So y'all should have been at the Taking the Limits Off conference. Y'all missed it. She spoke, when I tell you, she rocked the stage, she tore up the stage and put it back together again. So, Miss Josette, will you give us an introduction and welcome to the Ruby Girl Talk Show?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, of course, my name is Josette Crumble, and I am a mother, an author, a serial entrepreneur, um, and also a preacher. I love to travel. I love to what else I love to do? I love to do a lot of things, but I am happy to be here, pretty much. That's it.
Well, I'm happy that you are here.
Yeah.
I am so happy because this is needed, especially in our culture. We don't sit down and have honest
Mm,
conversations about
mm-mm,
money. We don't honestly admit that our culture is known to be consumers.
mhm.
Yes, we have entrepreneurs in our neighborhoods, in our culture, but we lack more than any other race. So my pastor gave us this
Really?
question last night. He
Mhm,
said, "Who do Arabs work for?" We
mhm,
was like, "Arabs." He said, "Who do Indians work for?" We was like, "Indians." He said, "Who do
mhm.
African Americans work for?" And we was like, "Everybody," you know. And so he was saying we need to go back to the times when we had to purchase from each other, when we had to
Mhm,
shop for each other, and we didn't realize that that was power in our community. We was
mhm.
just thinking we were being oppressed, not knowing that that's where the power was. We was
Right,
keeping the money in our neighborhoods. Because
right.
you go here, you see like Dearborn have their own community. The Arabs, I hope I'm saying their names right. The Arabs,
Mhm,
they have their own community. Chinese people have their own community, but us, we're just scattered everywhere. So tonight we're going to talk about finances. So
right.
Ms. said she gave just a little bit about herself, but let's get into it. What inspired you to start talking about finances? And better yet, what inspires you to start Fit Fixer, finances intact? I like that, Fixer. And why is financial freedom so personal to you? So I might give you 30 questions. So let me do it again. What inspired you to start Finances Intact, which is Fixer, and why is financial freedom so personal to you?
Well, one of my companies that I have is New Order Diversified Services, and it turned 25 this year, woohoo! And it's a business finance and marketing firm. So one of the things I do is taxes. My tax clients started coming in, and they stuff was just all over the place. I would see people constantly, changing addresses every year or changing phone numbers every year, and just inconsistencies that led me to know that they were in trouble. I also offer Chapter 7 bankruptcies, so my tax clients started to become my bankruptcy clients, and that's when I was like, I need to do something. I need to do something about this. So what inspired me is that um I know that there is no need for you to live paycheck to paycheck. There is a way that you can earn money and use it wisely and save and have the best of both worlds. So it's my job, my commission to help instill good qualities and skills, financial skills, and help people not struggle.
Oh, that's good. And you're right, changing addresses, changing phone numbers. I think we
Mhm.
have been surviving
Oh,
instead of
definitely.
thriving. And let's be honest, a lot of us don't live paycheck to paycheck. We live paycheck that day, and that's it. Because I'm just gonna be transparent and honest with y'all tonight. So if y'all ain't
Mhm.
ready for it, then y'all need to just go watch another show tonight. But I just believe in being transparent because
Mhm.
people look at you and think you got everything all together. They be like, "Oh, you
Mhm.
got a house, you got a car," but I got bills. I got
Mhm.
bills. And
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
have found, like last month, this is where I made my mistake. I paid too much of my bills out of one paycheck because
Mhm.
with auto pay, things get lost. You don't think about your money going out when it's auto pay because it just disappears. It's like
Mhm.
magic, and so you forget what's coming this day, what's going that day, and all that stuff like that. So I was trying to pay off my refrigerator, pay this down, and I said, "Oh my God, Kay, you done overpaid your bills." So that
Mhm.
one, I got paid on Friday and Sunday. I was like pennies. Even though I had money in the bank, I knew it was gone. And I was like, how do you just be one day rich? Come on, y'all. Who has ever been one day rich when they got paid? That was the only
Get
day that they
rich.
had money. One day
Oh my
rich.
Lord.
And so
No,
I was
man.
like, what you gonna do for a week and a half? But I figured out because I have my savings and I don't like to touch it. But I just not paying attention to my finances and not saying I just wanted to pay the bills, get it paid off. And I messed up, just said. I messed but
Perfect segue to your next question.
right. So what are the biggest mistakes you see people make with their money and how can they avoid them? And we want to talk about a firm out the pay. Also, but we're gonna talk about the first one. What's the biggest mistakes you see people make with their money?
Not having a written budget. If you had a written budget, you would not have made the mistakes that you made. I have had a written budget since the age of 16, since my very first job. I wrote down how much I made. I wrote down what my tithe was, how much my lunch money was, how much my bus fare was, and then I put the rest in the bank at 16. I've been doing it since I was 16. And when you don't write it down, when you do not write it down, you run into a lot of problems. You'll run into overpaying, underpaying, forgetting to pay. You'll run into a lot of those issues because it's not written. So, actually, shameless plug, my book, Breaking the Back Off Lack, there is a section that teaches you how to budget. There's a section that teaches you it's an interactive handbook. So within the book, it gives you the space to physically write in the money. So as I teach you the principle, I give you the opportunity to write it in as well. So that's one of the biggest problems is that people don't, they keep a lot of things in their head. Okay, I know I owe DTE that's due on the 10th. I know I owe this, I know I owe that. And then sometimes you have to one of my biggest challenges as a finance coach was actually with my son, my 21-year-old son, about 2 years ago. He's a musician, so he get paid by gigs. He doesn't get paid regularly, but those bills are regular. So he has an irregular income with regular bills. And so I could not do what I normally do for clients, by the week or bi-weekly or monthly. That didn't work for him because he might work two gigs on a Sunday and another one on a Thursday, and then nothing else for the week. So I had to learn what I did was I took the certain bills and I applied it towards certain gigs. So this gig pays for this one pays for that, this one pays for this. And that's how I ended up, getting him on a good track of paying his bills and paying them on time. But it's written down.
So let me ask you this. I just thought of this. Did you learn money management from your parents?
My mom did sit down with a pencil and paper, and she did write down um the bills. And my mom sat down with me a lot as a kid. She would always, pull me over. And when dad got his check, she would just, because she didn't work outside the home. So, she would write the bills down and, say this is what need to be paid. And back then, even checks and stuff, we would have to go to the bank or whatever. But that type of thing. So that was the initial, I saw it being practiced. My parents had very good financial skills. They weren't rich. They didn't, Lord knows we didn't have a lot of money, but my mother knew how to make it work. She knew how to make things work. That was my first encounter with how to budget. And then I went to school and I got involved in different junior achievement was a very helpful tool. When I was in junior achievement, I became like the VP of finance, so I had to learn how to distribute the money for like the rest of the company. So yeah, it's been second nature to me for
Wow,
sure.
when I moved out of my home when I was 19. And so when I moved out in 19, I
I did
kind
too.
of I had a hold on my finances.
Hmm.
I kind of, like you said, had a budget. I was saving money, but I didn't have a lot of debt. I didn't have a car. Only thing I had to pay for was just my rent and my utilities, and that was it.
Hmm.
And I should have left it at that. But I was
Hmm.
working in retail. People coming with them credit cards, and I'm like, oh, just swiping their cards. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
this is so cute, your card.
Mm-mm.
Oh, then I got a credit card. And then it just began to snowball, bills, car notes,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff like that. And I wish I could go back to when I was smart about money. I knew all the right things to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
did them. I know
Mm-hmm.
all the right things to do now, but I don't do them. But this year I
Mm-hmm.
said, this is the year to pay stuff off. And when you got a house, the house is like, surprise, you need a new refrigerator, surprise, the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the house, when you own a house, when you own a car, there comes
Mm-hmm.
surprises. And regardless, even if you got a savings account, it's like boom. But I like what you said about how your parents, I knew when you were talking and you were saying a budget, I said, it's probably something in her bloodline that she's picked up,
Yeah.
because I hate to say it, we don't really learn. Our parents don't really sit down and teach
Mm-hmm.
us finances
Mm-hmm.
like I should. We should.
Mm-hmm.
We learn finances and romance through how can I put it? Hit and miss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I hit
Mm-hmm.
this, I missed this, I learned this.
Mm-hmm.
So I like so let's talk about a firm and out the pay. Are you familiar with
Mm-hmm.
those?
I am. I am.
Better than using credit cards?
Well, it depends on whether or not there is interest attached to it. So I know for the smaller purchases, I know like for Temu, because I've used it on Temu before, and I just used it just to see what it was about. And it like took the payment, and 2 weeks later it took some more, then it did, that. So be good for a person that needs to budget. But me personally, see, I do our finances totally different, right? Because I already had the money. When I never go shopping without the money. If I don't have the money, I can't afford to shop. So I never go shopping without money. Like, yeah, that doesn't happen. So like I said, I just, seeing what it was. It I already had the money, set aside for that. But I don't know, I kind of like alluded to it during on Saturday. I have different categories for my money. So there is an account that I have for online shopping. And once that account hits zero, there's no more online shopping.
Ooh, my account is it's just my one account,
Oh
but you're
no.
right. A lot of us go
Oh, I
shop.
have multiple. I have multiple. I have multiple bank accounts. I have besides each of my businesses have their own bank account, and
Mhm.
then I have different bank accounts. I have the one United Bank, the black the black bank. I that's where I save my money for my international trips. So that only has international trips. I do not spend money out of there for anything else. Nothing else. When my clients pay me via PayPal, it goes into my online shopping account. That's my online shopping account money. So yeah, I have different accounts, different bank accounts, different whatever, and I allocate my money that way. And when it's gone, like I have a Capital One checking account. So the money that's in my Capital One checking account, that's the money that I use for travel within the United States. And again, when that money is gone, it's over. That's it. That's it.
Oh wow. That's good. That's good. Sometimes you have to do that. Like I have multiple bank accounts too,
Mm,
but my main bank account, I kind of shoot everything out of it. But you're
mm,
right, we have to take control of our finances. And so, in case
absolutely.
you don't know what a firm and out there pay is when you go to check out and they give you the option of you can do a firm will give you so many months to pay off something without interest, or you can do it with interest. Like I was going to pay for something and I found out they did a firm and I was like, okay, good. I don't have to pay for all this at once. But in my mind, it's like, okay, I could take that money and spend it on something else. That ain't how it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to work. But I noticed this. I noticed you didn't say anything about credit cards. I noticed you're speaking cash and talking cash. But when I was growing up, you couldn't get credit unless you had money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the money to get credit. Then it switched. You get credit now because you don't have the money. And that's why so many people are in debt. So many people. So how does Fit Fixer help clients shift from, as we've been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
survival mode, meaning just what you got, you try to make the best of it. And if you don't have it, you're trying to hustle up on something else, to wealth building.
Well, so of course, in my book, I talk about the Joneses and the means. So growing up, we were, told, don't be trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're looking at those people, they have this, they have that. And in today's society, people fake it till they make it. They really don't have it, but they be stunting and fronting. But what we have to learn is not to try to keep up for appearance sake, and that's where we come in with the means. The means is living above your means, within your means, or beneath your means and below your means. And so everybody knows that living above your means that you have more month left over than you have money. You're spending too much. You're overspending. Um, Living within your means is basically paycheck to paycheck. So you're not really able, you don't have any wiggle room because you're at the edge. You're getting paid $1,000 and you're spending 999. So you're at at 99 cents. You're at the limit. So the goal is to live below your means, meaning that at the end of the month or after you're done with all of your obligations, you still have money left over. You have money left over to save. You have money left over to invest. You have money left over to treat yourself. You have something left over. So that's the goal. And a lot of times, people, especially people that did not grow up with things, sometimes because they were underprivileged or less privileged, they get on a kick of, oh, I got money now, I'm going to do this, 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 and that. Not pacing themselves, not looking at themselves. One of the examples I love to use is MC Hammer, and he told on his own self about how he went through his money and was broke. And we know there's a lot of celebrities that file bankruptcy and get broke and everything. Why? It all goes back to that same mentality and learning to live below your means.
I think that's what's hard for us. And it kind of brings us back to question number 2 about the biggest mistakes you see people making with their money is living above their money instead of below it. And I think we have gotten into the mindset to stretch it to the limit. If I get $1,000, I should be spending $1,000. And a lot of it is because of lack, because of the spirit of lack that has been on our life so long. I had a conversation with a colleague today at work. And he comes in, he wears Gucci this, he has real gold bracelets. He said, well, how did you know they were real bracelets? Because I was gold, because I was complimenting. I said, because I know how you are. And he said, well, I buy a lot of things because I didn't have a lot of things growing up. So I'm kind of making up for it, And I said, okay, I said, a lot of us do that. And that's where we get into trouble because we're still living in lack. We're still lacking something. Even though we getting this, we're still lacking this financial stability. A lot of people that are working, we're not even one paycheck away from financial ruin. We're just barely hanging on. When payday comes, we be like, woo, rushing to the bank trying to cover this check. And we juggle it. Like I know a coworker, well, I know a person that got fired for kiting. You know what that is? So you have 2 bank accounts, right? So I write a check from say Flagstar to Chase. And before Chase can get that check to Flagstar, I've written a check out of Chase into Flagstar. So you're writing checks back and forth. So that when that check hit, they're really using the money from your other bank account. So you never have the money. You just write checks back and forth. Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. And so she got fired for that. That's a lot of work because I would get confused. But yeah, there's people out there that's managing that way, hustling to meet their bills and to meet, well, we don't have a budget. Our budget is we spend it till it's gone. So you're right. It's just doing the work of writing it down. It's like, why do a grown person need to make a budget? We look at it as a budget like your mom or dad telling you, no, you cannot get that. Is that's the wrong way to look at a budget, right?
And actually, I came up with a term called the fit flow. So I came up with a fit flow worksheet. And clients actually like it better when I call it that. Like, so we're going to see which way your money is flowing, and because sometimes the word budget does sound restrictive, so sometimes just play with the words, like, which way your money flowing? Let's see which way your money flowing. Okay, so can we get it to flow back over on this side? Because it's way over there. So discipline, I think that was in my notes, like, but discipline. That is one of the keys to financial success, financial independence, financial freedom is discipline. You have to be disciplined with your money. I can put money in an account and let it sit and forget that it's even there. Like I don't, there's sometimes with that one United Bank, because I don't really log into that account. Sometimes I don't know what the balance is. When I was getting ready to go to, I was saving the money to go to Antarctica. And I was just, putting money in, and I wasn't really paying any attention. And when I looked up, I actually had enough money to go to Antarctica and Australia. So I ended up doing both trips. So, but discipline. And Josette, when I put this is the way I like to teach people about money. When I have that account over there, and that's my international travel fund. So imagine you have an EBT card. You can't take that EBT card to Macy's and buy clothes, right? Because it's an EBT card. It's for food. So when I have an international travel fund, it don't spend nowhere else. It's an EBT card for my international travel fund. And if you gather the mentality of this money is assigned to this and only this, it can only work for this. You start dividing and compartmentalizing your money, then you'll see your money stretch because you'll put it in the categories where they belong, and you'll make sure you stick to, stick to what you're supposed to stick to.
That's hard.
All right.
You're like, didn't I'm just gonna be honest. That's hard for a lot of us because we don't have control over our finances. And I'll just give you a quick backstory for me. When I was growing up, my mother had passed away, so I got a check for her. And so because I got a check for her, some members of my family kind of looked at it as just being a gold mine. And so money was withheld from me. I wasn't, they would take my money and spend it on other things and stuff like that. And so I made up in my mind, I said, nobody's going to ever control my money. And so with me, when it comes to money, it's like I should be able to get what I want because I was withheld that, or they took it and did this with it and stuff like that. So I still have, some of us have trauma from our childhood when it comes to money.
That's exactly what that is. Trauma.
Nobody ever connects trauma to money. We connect trauma to something we went through, but you can be traumatized by your experiences with money. If you were in an abusive relationship, and your husband or boyfriend kept your money from you. So now that you got money, you like, oh, I'm gonna spend it how I want to, and I don't care. And it puts you in struggle and it keeps you in lack. And then I grew up poor, where we had the raggedest house, and it was a lot of things I couldn't get growing up because we didn't have money. I always wanted a computer, but it was always this story: we don't have the money for this computer. So I think in my mind, I'm like, if I want something, I should be able to get it. Not realizing you can save, there's boundaries, and then there's credit cards. Some things are so evil that even the credit bureau penalizes you more for having credit card debt. I moved my credit card debt to a personal loan this year. So at first, my credit score went up the highest it had ever went. And then when it dropped down, it still was higher than what it had been with credit card debt. So they were like praising me, even though I moved it. Like credit card debt they were telling me it's bad. We rather for you to have that personal loan than credit card debt. So we have to get over the trauma that has been attached to how we've been dealing with money. Maybe we made a big mistake. Bankruptcy causes trauma, eviction, a lot of things. So what do you think about that trauma attached to your money?
It's just like any other trauma, you have to develop tools and strategies to deal with it. And you have to speak to yourself. I can relate totally through my experience of my losses. When my sister passed, I was on the plane. When the plane landed, I got a phone call. I was like, your sister's not breathing. And then after she passed, every time I got ready to land in Detroit, I started hyperventilating, just going through all of this stuff. So yes, it was a traumatic event. And I would just go through, as soon as that plane would touch down at DTW, I would just lose it. So I had to, I did go to therapy. And what one of the therapists taught me was I had to distinguish between that was then and this is now. That happened then, this is now. And then you don't allow your past to dictate your future. Well, that's my take on it, that you don't allow your past to dictate your future. I firmly believe in affirmations. I firmly believe in to continue to say those things. This is what happened to me, but this is how I'm going to, move forward. And I'm moving into some of my other stuff. My pastor says often that you are better than your biggest mistake. You're greater than your biggest mistake. Therefore, you have enough time and opportunity to get it right.
All right. With that being said, we're going to take a 60-second break. We're going to
Okay.
let Miss Josette say anything that she wants to say, which I know is going to be beautiful and encouraging because she's going to take over the show for 60 minutes. She's not going to put me out of business and she's not going to cause me to file bankruptcy. So go
Oh.
ahead, Miss Josette. Check social media. And if y'all had questions or wanted to comment, y'all a little late now. So I'm going out there to look on social media and see what the people say. Go ahead, Miss Josette.
What most people don't realize is that your view about money, your attitude about money, how you treat money is strongly linked to the very first time you encountered money, the very first time that you saw money. It actually paves a roadway to the way that you view it, the way that you treat it, and your mindset toward it. And that's one of the biggest keys to fixing your finances is your mindset. We were just talking about get your mind right. You got to get your mind right in order to get your finances right. I wrote a money mindset journal series. It's a series of 4. It's the starter journal, then past, present, and future journals. So what a money journal is, it's a journal that you actually write in. So it could be digital or manual, but it's a journal that you write your income, your expenses, and even your goals. And basically, you write. There's affirmations in the present, the past, present, and future. There's positive affirmations. We give you opportunities to write your own. And today, if you are interested, just type in money journal in the comments. However, the starter journal is free. So if you want the starter journal, just type in Ruby in the comments and I'll send you the link. Somebody got their hand up?
Yeah. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So did y'all hear she's giving y'all a free money journal? Now, if y'all didn't hear, she might not have put in her introduction, but she is also an author. And as she's mentioned, she's a business owner. And so she has books out there for y'all. She's written a book about grief. She's got finance books out there, and you can find that where. Make sure you give me your website.
So my website is fitfixercorp.com. FITFIXERCORP.com. Fitfixer.com. So you'll be able to find my book there and get in touch with me.
So now we're on the second part of our show. And so now we want to talk about some things that you can start to do now to get your finances fit. We did have a question. We got Venetia. She's out there watching. Hey, Venetia. And so her question is it true that you're only supposed to spend only 30% of your credit card balance? She said, if not, what percentage should you spend on your credit card limits?
Okay, so anything over 30, it's called utilization, your credit utilization. So anything over 30% utilization harms your credit score. However, if you are trying to build your credit, if you are trying to increase your credit, it should be under 10%, not 30.
You say buy more credit cards and then your limit go up and you can spend more. But I know that's why I'm not the financial expert and you are.
But
I get it because it's like I noticed this on your credit report. So you pay off 5 things and your credit card goes up and they ding you minus 10, 20 points. But then you go pay off one bill and they give you plus 1 points.
Exactly. I do not, I will advise people regarding credit, but as you noticed before, yeah, that's not, I don't do all that. if you use it responsibly, but most of the people in our community will not use it responsibly. Most of the people in our community will not use it and pay it off in 30 days or pay it off, before the end of the closing cycle so that it doesn't affect your credit. Most people aren't that disciplined. They use it as a substitution for money that they don't have, which is not at all what you're supposed to be doing. The only time I use credit cards is, when I travel, I'll use I use them for points. I'll use a credit card for points so that I'll be able to get more true deals. Basically, that's what I do. I use it so I can get free hotels, so I can get free stuff. But I pay mine so fast. By the time if I charge it today, it gets posted in 3 days. I'm paying it off.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't do that.
Remember when American Express made you pay your credit cards off every month? Now they don't. They have credit cards now where you can extend your credit on. I think that was the best thing for us. But I think a lot of credit card companies, like you said, they make their money, of course, off that interest. And interest is killing now. It's like 20%. When you start to think about how much interest you pay in credit card, that's why I play the switch. As soon as I get a zero credit card, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna put you aside because then I'm gonna move this over here to this and a certain amount of money. So I kind of play that game, but still, some of them charge you 5%. So you start to think like, my goodness, like you said, one of your money sheroes said, you can't get out of debt, but you can't use debt to get out of debt. You can't. But we figure like if I move it to a personal loan, I can pay it down. Or if I move it to my credit line on my house, I can pay it down. But you're still paying interest, and sometimes you're paying interest for those moves. So she's right. You cannot use debt to pay down debt. Only thing that pays down debt is number one, to stop spending. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm taking a quiz now. Okay. Number one, stop spending.
No. Ding, ding,
And
ding, ding.
and use money to pay off your debt, not move
Absolutely.
your credit around. Oh,
Absolutely. Yes. And then what you
hey,
can do also is when you really you get a plan. You get a plan, you say, okay, this is where I'm at and this is what I need to do. I have a client that I've known her all her life, but she's a college, she graduated from college. She was like, I have all of these student loans. She was like, and I don't want, all these student loans and, to be in all these debt forever. And we just had a quick consultation. It wasn't a long thing or whatever, but that girl is chopping that stuff down like it ain't no business. I mean, she chopping them loans down because she made a plan. I told her what to do and she started executing it and doing it. When you make up in your mind that you're going to do something and you just stick to it, discipline. Overall, people don't like to be told what to do, period. Nobody likes to be told what to do. I mean, think about it. Even with our parents, we still got mad at them for telling us, they had the right to tell us what to do, but we still got mad at them for telling us what to do. We don't like to be told what to do. We have a problem with our teachers. We got a problem with our pastors. We got a problem with people in authority. We got a problem with the police, everybody, because people in general, especially in our community, just don't like to be told what to do. But in order for you to succeed financially, you got to execute that discipline. You have to allow that to tell yourself, I'm not going to spend this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this instead. That's what it's about.
and so that leads right into our next question. Let's talk about 3 things people can start to do now to get their finances fit. So now you got to tell people how to get their finances fit.
I actually wrote some notes down.
Okay.
Number 1, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You got to admit, you have to own it. You have to take accountability and say, the reason why I'm in this situation is because of something I did or did not do. You got to be honest with you first. Because if you're not honest with you, you'll never get around to resolving anything. If you blame it on people, if you blame it on situations, if you blame it on this, that, I would do better if I made more money, or I would do better if my husband didn't leave me, or I would. No, you have to be honest with you and take some accountability for you being in the financial situation that you're in. Next, you have to be willing to put in the work to make the changes that are necessary. You got to be willing to put in that work. You have to be willing to, if whatever is needed, you got to be willing to do it. If it's classes that you need to take, if it's a coach you need to hire, if it's a book you need to read, whatever you need to do in order to gain the tools and the strategies that you need, you got to put that work in. That's number two. And basically, again, there are tools and strategies that are in my book that teach you, how to do those things. But those, getting your mindset together, that's the first thing. Before you do anything physically, before you do anything with the money, if you get your mind right to begin with, then when you tell yourself, I'm doing this for me because I love me. You know what? I'm going to stop spending because this is not good for me. I'm going to do this because this is good for me. When you start putting those things in your mind, then when that paycheck comes, you've already made affirmations to yourself. You've already shown yourself that you love you enough to not be trapped in this bondage and to not go down this rabbit hole. So those are, practical things. I know you were expecting something else, but those are the practical things that are needed for you to make those changes in your life with your finances.
So, there's also a lot of shame, fear, definitely a lack of knowledge attached to money. So you was talking about mindset. So give us two ways that you help people shift their mindset about money.
Again, you have to admit to yourself, I think sometimes we try to fake ourselves out, but admitting like what I've been doing is not working. One, I encourage affirmations. And for those that are believers, the scriptures have a whole lot of positive things to say, about money. So quoting scriptures like wealth and riches shall be in my house, things like that. I'm above and not beneath, I'm the lender and not the borrower, things like that. Or affirmations, the Bible says that money, that people always say that money is evil, but it says that the love of money is the root of all evil. So understanding and saying to yourself, money is not evil, money is a reward. Those type of things are the things that you have to begin to say, recite to yourself, repeat to yourself in order to change your mind.
I totally agree with you. A lot of times, but affirmations with scriptures do work. The word work. And I think we don't want to do the work. We're lazy when it comes to our finances. Let's be honest.
Right.
Part of our issue is that we are lazy when it comes to our finances because we're doing so much, And so financial stress is real because I think about the millionaire. He doesn't have to worry about what his heat is on or what his air is on. Here we are, we're cutting our heat off at night to save on the heat bill, or we get our house cool and cut it off. Would you like to not have to worry about the bills like that, to have that pressure off of you? Now, there are some millionaires that count every penny, everything, but I'm saying not to have financial problems where they say, I got 99 problems, but money is not one. That's what I want to be able to say. The freedom that it gives you. My friend, she was like, she retired and she said, I let my alarm clock wake me up. I remember this millionaire said that. He said, you're not supposed to be woke up by alarm clocks. You're supposed to sleep as long as you can, and then your body will naturally wake you up. And I was like, I would love for the day. I probably would sleep to 5 in the afternoon every day, but it's a freedom that comes with money management too.
Absolutely.
People and pay them back. Some people borrow their whole check out, can't do that. Payday loans. We ain't gonna get into that and everything. So
Lord.
sometimes we make it so hard for ourselves when it shouldn't be that hard. So
Mm-hmm.
Miss Josette, I thank you so much for coming
Oh,
and
here
sharing
for
with
the
us. So this is
opportunity.
what I want y'all to know that's out there. I want y'all to know that she has books that can help you. Sometimes you need to get people workbooks. You need to get into the mind of people that have financial wisdom. And she has financial wisdom. She's an author. She's a financial coach. So sometimes you need a coach. A coach help you get ahead. Think about it. A coach, football players know how to play the game, right? So why don't they just get out there without a coach? Because the coach has the strategy to win. She has the
Right.
strategy to help you win with your
Right.
financial fight. You could just be struggling. I'm gonna get it right, and you can't get it all together because you need somebody else. And sometimes I think God sets it up that you have to connect with somebody else before things happen for you, because He's about connections and He's about community. And so
Mm-hmm.
connect with her. At least, do you give a discovery call?
Yeah, like a consultation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Listen, y'all. I'm gonna put on mute too. So listen, this is what I learned about coaches and their discovery calls. You always gonna get something. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, you're gonna walk away with something. But I believe if you connect with her, you're gonna want to stay connected with her. So Miss Josette, give us a 2-minute closeout.
2 whole minutes.
Yeah, two
One of the
minutes.
things that I share with my audiences is if you be kind to money, money will be kind to you. So, in essence, if you treat your money with dignity, with respect, and with care by saving and budgeting, and planning, reducing or eliminating frivolous spending, and managing your money well, that it will treat you well. So by growing, the money will begin to grow. It'll stay with you longer, and it'll help you meet your needs and your goals. So good financial habits, they lead to financial stability and financial success. Uh, Make sure you one of the chapters in my book says pay your bills before you give into your thrills. And so that's just a little nugget. If you pay your bills first before you give into your thrills, you'll find that you are less stressed, because what you have to, your obligations will be fulfilled. And make sure that you put your priorities over your pleasures. It's good to enjoy yourself, but make sure that your priorities are covered, that they are paid for, and then you can actually enjoy your vacation. You can enjoy your free time because your obligations are met. So sometimes I'm accused of being a dream killer. I'm not. I'm a realist. And I encourage people, go ahead and shoot for the stars. And I hope for the best for you. Be optimistic, be vigilant. However, you need to be balanced. So, in order to make a dream come true, you have to put in the work. You got to do research and timing. And of course, finances are the key in making a dream turn into a reality. So, I believe in practical living. You can't live today spending tomorrow's money. Um, and just realizing that shopping addictions are real. I know that they're real. Those are real. And life triggers. Sometimes there are triggers. There are things that in life that trigger you and cause you to spend, and your money goes, knock you off your square. But you can overcome those things. You can gain tools and strategies to deal with any financial situation that you have. So I am available as a finance coach to individuals, to couples, to households. The Black community has something different because they have a lot of times when people don't have, we'll take in quote unquote strays. We'll allow people to come and live with us because they're down on their luck. But we have to learn how to incorporate them into our budget so that we aren't lopsided, so that we aren't carrying people that we don't need to carry. So we specialize in treating household finances as well. So again, you can contact me. Also, I do want to mention that Fit Fixer has a nonprofit arm that's called Fit Exchange Inc. That particular organization is a nonprofit, so there is we focus more on literacy, financial literacy, than we do coaching, and it is available to other nonprofit churches and things of that nature. But I am available. If you want to reach me, you just contact me on my website at fixercorp.com. And thank you, Ruby Girl, for having me on your show.
Are you welcome? So glad I met you last week.
Me too.
So everybody, we want to thank you for watching. Hey, what did they got to put Ruby in the
Put
chat?
Ruby in the comments, and I will get you the link to your free starter journal.
All right. We
Yep.
love free.
We love
That's
free.
why we
Free
share.
99.
Yes, we are free. Free 99 is the best price ever. And that's part of your budget, free 99. So all right, y'all.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching the Ruby Girl Show. Thank you, Miss Josette
Thank
Crumbly.
you.
Crumble.
Crumble. Mm-hmm,
Oh, where I
mm-hmm.
get crumbly from. Oh, I know where I got crumbly. You don't want to identify with the crumbs, but crumble. But I want to thank you for being on the show tonight, sharing out your heart, and even making us think about our finances and getting it in shape, because where the economy is headed now, we got to have it together. Our little
Right.
pennies got to be lined up, and we can't continue to live like we have, because it looks like it's getting worse. And don't get me wrong, God is our provider, but God wants us to be a good steward over our money. And
Absolutely.
I don't want to stand in front of God, and what if he do the bank account flash on the screen? He's showing my life. I'm like, oh, wait, now, not that one, not that screen. I need a private screening with that. So anyway, y'all, be back next Tuesday with another fantastic guest. And remember, connect with Miss Josette. She gave you her website number. It's in the posting of this video. And don't forget to put Ruby in the comments so you can get her free financial
My money mindset starter journal.
money mindset starter journal. So y'all
Yep.
have a great and fantastic night. We're signing off Facebook, y'all. Thank you so much, Facebook, for watching.